Hey, what's up everyone? It's Dave. Welcome back to the channel if you've been here before, and if it's your first time here, welcome in. I'm really glad you're here. I'm actually going to be starting a new series for how to play Pokemon trading card game. And the reason we're starting this series, if you're like me, you're just now thinking, or maybe you've been thinking about getting back into physical trading card game because of Pokemon TCG Pocket. It's just, for me, I grew up playing Pokemon TCG. Well, not playing, but collecting. But the Pocket game has gotten me wanting to get back into the hobby. So I'm going to go through sort of how to play. And you may be asking, isn't it just like TCG Pocket? The concept is the same, but no, there's some key distinctions that you should know. We're going to go through some of that in these videos. This is going to be a multi-part series, just by the way. Today we're going to go over what you need to play, like some of the equipment, and we'll go over the basic components of the card. The cards themselves, and then we'll get into the specifics of what's different, all that kind of stuff in future videos. Alright, so what equipment are we talking here? The first thing, most importantly, your deck. While you could just put a rubber band around all your cards, I actually recommend using a deck box. So if we open this deck, get a good deck box too, because you can get like a pre-constructed deck. That's what this actually is, like from Walmart or Target or something like that. But I don't really think the deck box is very good. It's like very thin plastic. This is a lot better, and it has a snap enclosure. So I would recommend getting a good deck box. And then we have your cards. Another thing is you want to make sure that all of your cards are sleeved. We're not going to get into the specifics of like tournament play, because if we did, we would literally be here all day. But this, generally, if you are playing in a tournament, you will need to sleeve your cards. And also, on that note, like, I know I said we weren't going to get into tournament play, but make sure you have some spare sleeves. You never know, like, if you are at a tournament, you're going to be shuffling your deck all day, and a sleeve could rip, and you need a replacement. Always good to have these in your bag. So, that's our deck, and make sure that it is and again, we'll get into the specifics of decks in a future video, but it's a 60 card deck. Make sure you count your cards before you play, otherwise you will fail a deck check. Alright, so that's our deck and deck box. The next thing you're going to need is a playmat. And I like to keep, and you're probably catching on, I have my deck in a deck box, I have my playmat in a playmat tube. Just my personal recommendation is that your TCG equipment is an investment, and I just want to make sure that I protect my investment. I certainly don't want my playmat to rip because this playmat. I actually just got it. So yeah, you'll need a playmat just because, like, especially if you're playing at a friend's house, or let's just say I invite you over and we play on my kitchen table. I'm a messy eater and I may not have wiped all the crumbs, etc. So use a playmat so we don't have my food all over the back of your Pokemon cards. Right. Next, you're going to need a head, tails coin. This is to decide who goes first, as well as, oh gosh, what was it the other day? Like certain conditions, or, actually no, if you read some cards, if heads, this attack does 30 more damage. I think that was the use case. So, heads or tails. Right. Get a card. Also, speaking of cards, you will need a V-Star marker. Technically, the rules, the TCG rulebook for competitive play says it could just be a piece of paper that says V-Star on it. But if you can get your hands on a V-Star marker, that's probably a better option. It needs actually. But V-Star marker. Along with V-Star marker, make sure you have your burn and poison tokens. You never know when you're going to run into a burn or Pokemon that can burn you or poison you. This is a dark type deck. Dark, just for future reference, not all of the types in the video game are in the trading card game. So for example, poison is technically a dark type. I don't think I have any Pokemon in here that can poison you, but there's always, I could swap it out. So make sure you have burn and poison markers, right? Have a dice, have a couple dice actually, and you're also going to want damage markers. I just have like 6 of them here. You'll probably want to bring more than 6, because think about it. Sometimes a Pokemon could be allowed to attack a Pokemon on your bench. So my general rule of thumb is make sure you have enough damage markers for all of the Pokemon that can be on your board at one time, right? And last but not least, this is, at least in terms of playing the game, this is not a be-all end-all at all, but I like to bring a friend for the table, especially since we're playing Pokemon. Hey, let's kind of pretend that I have a Pokemon next to me battling. Also, and again, I'm getting into tournament stuff here. Just make sure it fits on the table. You are allowed to have a good luck charm or a friend for the table, but a lot of times, especially in big tournaments, your space is going to be very limited because there's a lot of competitors there. So be prepared for a very tight, crammed area. So that's it as far as the equipment. So let's go into the actual cards themselves. Okay, so we have I'm just going to set a few cards out here. We have our playmat down and all of our accessories on the board, right? So this is your Pokemon card, alright? The first thing, and we're just going to go from top to bottom. First thing is the evolution stage. So if you see it say basic, then that means this is the first stage evolution and you can play it on your turn. If you have an evolved version of a Pokemon, you cannot play this until you play this card first, right? So we can play Eevee, but let's say we get an Umbreon, or we draw an Umbreon. If we do not have Eevee on our board, we cannot play Umbreon until we play Eevee, alright? So that's the first thing. Next, we have the name of the Pokemon, which is Eevee. We have the hit points, so this is how much damage the Pokemon can take. And so this is where our damage markers come in. So let's say the opposing Pokemon, let's just say they use an attack that does 20 damage. Once they do that, we're gonna put our damage marker that shows, hey, we have 20 damage, 70 minus 20, we can take a few more hits, right? And then once the damage, I think this might go up to 60. Yep. But once the damage goes above 70, then this Pokemon is knocked out. Okay? On the top right, this is going to be the Pokemon's type. And remember I mentioned that not every Pokemon, or not every type is in the trading card game. So the normal type is going to have normal and flying. I think steel type is actually metal. The dark type is going to include dark and poison. Fire is by itself. Sorry, I'm kind of going off memory. Grass, I'm just pointing to something green. Grass is grass and bug. Actually, we'll do that explanation in a future video. But, so we have the Pokemon type. Next, and then we have the picture. It's part of the great thing about Pokemon cards is to look at the art, and you see a little description such as the height and weight, etc. So next you have your attacks that you can use. These are the attacks, and this is the cost. So basically, in your deck, you'll have energy cards. You can draw energy cards, and you need to attach energy to the Pokemon in order for them to use an attack. So if I have 1 energy, I can only use Cheer Up. I can't use Kick until I attach another energy card to this Pokemon. And this will tell you what some Pokemon have different types of energies that they can use. So, for example, Umbreon, he can use Feint Attack if you have attached a dark energy. The star means universal, so you can attach an electric energy to Eevee if you wanted to use Cheer Up, okay? So that's the energy, and then you also have the damage that it does, and then also some attacks will have instructions. So attach an energy card from your hand to one of your Pokemon. So this is saying, let's say in my hand I have a dark energy. This is, if I use Cheer Up, I can take a dark energy from my deck and put it in my Pokemon, okay? So make sure to read the instructions, because they're important for some of these cards, right? On the lower right, you'll have your weakness. So Eevee is weak to the fighting type, right? So if, let's just say, a Pokemon their card says 20 damage, this does times 2, so it does double damage, right? And then next we have our retreat cost. So let's say we want to pull Eevee back and we want to use Nimble. It costs 1 energy. So, okay, yeah, I'll pull Eevee back, but this energy that's attached to Eevee, I have to take it off, right? And then the last portion of the card, I'm sorry, I'm moving the card all around. So this says who drew the art, so it's really cool to look up who is responsible for the art. This will tell you the set that it's in, so this is Obsidian. This is a card from the Obsidian Flames expansion in Scarlet Violet. This shows what number the card is in the set. The rarity works the same, so a circle means that it's a common card. A diamond here means that it's an uncommon card. So yeah, we have Umbreon's an uncommon card. And then some cards will have a star. That means they're a rare card. So you'll see this has a star, but it also says promo. This is just a promo card. And then some cards will have double stars. That means they're really, really rare. Okay? And then this is just a description about the Pokemon. So that's pretty much a breakdown of the cards themselves. One last piece of advice about equipment. This is one of those things, like, as I was packing up the demonstration and putting everything back in the deck box, it was like I was today years old tidbit that I wanted to share with you guys. Sometimes, so this deck box is actually bigger than a 60 card deck. You can actually put your damage markers and everything in the deck if you have some extra space, and of course the extra sleeves that I mentioned. Just another personal recommendation to get a better deck box than the ones they include in the trading card game sets that you get at like Walmart and Target. Good idea. That way you're not losing anything when you're playing if you did go to competition. I hope that all makes sense. I'm really excited about this series. I hope you guys are too. Let me know in the comments down below if you have recently started playing Pokemon TCG, if this video has inspired you to start. Let me know, or if you're experienced, let me know that too. And I hope to see you next time on the next video in the series. Thanks for watching.